to this virtual get-together brought to you by getAbstract. I'm Ramona Marcionetti, Marketing Manager at getAbstract, and I'm your host for today's session. We have launched the getAbstract get-together to exchange insights with experts. We want to provide you with knowledge which helps you improve and grow. And we want to provide you with practical tips to tackle your day-to-day challenge and to create a learning habit in the long run. So my guest today is author Lydia Schültken, and our session will be all about work hacks and how to tackle worn-out working routines. Lydia has developed the work hacks method. She is an entrepreneur and has advised many digital companies and startups as an independent consultant. So welcome, Lydia, to our get-together today.
Thanks for having me, Ramona. Hi there. Hi,
it's
everybody.
Nice that you're here. So whatever your situation, the beginning of 2020 has been remarkable for everybody. With the easing of the lockdown measures, people are returning to their offices, or maybe they established working in home office. Anyway, people seem to be eager to try out something new. So the first work hack that Lydia has suggested today to our audience is card sets for video conferencing. Lydia, what about those card sets?
Yeah, we developed a card set. In the beginning, it was just for our team, and we took the cards and put them into the camera, and we had so much fun. And then we tried them in conversations with our clients too, and everybody was so jealous that they wanted to have the cards too. So we produced these cards, like or you look great. It's German, but it says you look great, and so when you hold a card into the camera, you don't have to say something, but you can give, a sort of comment, or you make also things quicker. For instance, with this card, stay focused, get to the point. So you don't have to say that all the time when you're 10 or 15 people in a video conference. Then it's hard to interrupt each other all the time, so it's quicker with the cards. And it's also fun.
Okay.
And fun is very important these days.
So the goal would be giving feedback, also like the gamification of online meetings. And I could imagine that it needs a bit practice so that people are not constantly interrupting others with the cards that they are having in front of themselves.
Yeah, but as we experience it, it's more likely that they give more like, those kinds of comments, and they don't interrupt at all. That it's just a little bit heartwarming and giving a social touch in these conversations. Because most of the people, they come into a meeting and they are very structured and they're very focused. And normally you talk to your colleagues also in a social way, and that's what we're missing right now. So this is also nice. Or the hairdresser is closed. Something funny as well,
Yeah. What I also like about it, you can use it, of course, if you're working in home office and if you're not meeting your colleagues on a day-to-day basis, but also you can use it when you're at the office and have, for example, colleagues in different parts of the globe. Or maybe even you want to use them with your clients. If you have a more like personal and friendly relationship with your clients, they might also be fun to use those cards.
Exactly. And I think we have like a second step now. In the first like 6-7 weeks of the lockdown, we were more likely to have conversations and meetings and all that stuff. But now, since we're in week 9, I think we are missing workshops and the atmosphere of working and collaborating together. And so this is one little tool that makes it a little bit easier to really collaborate and have some fun together, and not only have meetings together, because it's a big difference.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
There is another work hack from your collection, which I find very interesting, and it belongs to the category healthy workplace, and it is meant to structure your day. It's called simulation of commute. What's behind that?
Yeah, it's always pretty simple. That's also simple. you just you simulate that you have a walk to your office, even though if you start at the same place where you end, that's the home office. You know, everybody has that. But you know you need something like a routine to get into into a different flow. You know, you get up out of your bed, you go into the kitchen, and then from the kitchen right to your office. And so we think it's a good idea to interrupt this routine with a little walk. You know, you walk just around the corner or wherever, or you go into a shop, and then you walk back, and then you have sort of a simulation. And it belongs to a bigger idea that you have a morning routine, that you do every morning something healthy for yourself. That brings you more into a good flow.
Okay, so in my case, this would be hiking up the mountain behind my house. For others, it might be a bicycle ride. For others, it might be, I don't know, some push-ups, whatever. So you choose something which you personally like to start off your day, and you use the time that you usually spend on your commute, for example, when you're driving to work by car or with the train.
Yeah, and in my team, they go a little further. Marcos, my colleague, he's one of the kings of routines. He has a 7-step morning routine, and I can't recall
Oh,
every
wow.
step, but it's like, you know, he gets up out of the bed. This is not the first step, but the first step follows right behind. He does the bed. I just learned that it's doing the bed, and then he takes a shower, and the last 60 seconds it's a cold shower. You know, I learned that if you practice that, it's not that hard anymore. And then he makes 30 push-ups, and I think before he has like a 10-minute meditation, and then a healthy breakfast. So it's like I think I can recall 5 steps. So I think it's not only one step, you know. To walk into the office is one step, but you can make like 3 or 4 steps out of it. That's also a cool idea.
Whatever prepares you for your day, basically.
Yeah, and give
Okay,
it a
there is
try.
another work hack. Yeah, there is another work hack which is probably a bit more serious and more to the point, and it's called focus time. So it's one of your original work hacks from the original series, and it's meant for concentration. What is behind focus time?
Yeah, we developed that for teams, but it's also very, very good for people in home office. The idea is that you get distracted all the time, like 15 or every 15 or 17 minutes you get distracted, and you also need some time to really get into a deep dive of a subject. So the idea is that uh, die Uhr stellen, you you take the
Ah,
clock for 1 hour.
you set your watch.
Exactly. Yeah, you need a watch or you need something that reminds you how long an hour is. And for
Hmm.
example, you take an hour and then you work really focused. There is no reacting on emails, or you don't take phone calls. You just do your work, and that's very, very cool. And some people might have heard about Pomodoro. It's very, very popular right now these days, especially in home office days, because it structures the day. And some people, and my colleague Julia does that. She had printed out pomodoros, so tomatoes, and she puts like 4 tomatoes on the one side of her computer. And every time she does a pomodoro, which is 25 minutes, really, really focused work, then she puts one Pomodoro on the other side of the computer, and in the end of the day, she needs to have 4 Pomodoros from the right hand side to the left hand side. So and this is something if you need to get done something, then this is a good work hack.
So you're actually tricking yourself into a good habit here.
Yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
sometimes it's also cool. Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, as I said, we developed that for teams because we thought it's cool to have such an concentrated atmosphere in the office, but it can be also cool on your own. Some people are really good to structure themselves, but what I learn right now is that the people that really the lots and lots of people in home office, what they really struggle with is to have a structure in the day. And so give it a structure, make some tricks. It's a very good idea.
Yeah, perfect. There was a question on Facebook coming from Kreta. Kreta says, great tips for starting new and positive habits. Do you have any tips for breaking bad habits? So, for example, how would you like how would you handle it if you are distracted? It's like, is there any tip how to develop, how to break a bad habit?
I have one tip probably. I would ask, what is the good thing about the bad habit? What is the quality? What do you get out of it? Because there's something you need to get out of it, otherwise you wouldn't do it. And then you try to create a new habit that that includes that. You know, if you smoke and for instance, the smoking, the good thing about smoking is that you get relaxed. Then you ask yourself, what else can make me relaxed? Otherwise, you're missing the good part of the bad habit, and then you are likely to start all over again. Does that answer the
Okay.
question?
It does. It does. It's a replacement, basically. You find a replacement which is more positive than the first thing.
Yeah. And the other thing is tell it to your friends that you're doing that, because then the social pressure is getting higher that you're really doing that. You know,
Okay.
if you're telling that your friends and then you don't do it, then yeah, you're not so cool as you do it.
Yeah, that's a very good idea. Know exactly what you mean, and tell it to your colleagues. Also, there's probably some like competition at work, and other people can help you follow your like the good habits that you developed.
Exactly.
Speaking of colleagues, like what we usually do when we go to work is we meet all kinds of people throughout the day. We meet them on our way to the kitchen. We meet them during lunch break. And this is missing. I mean, when we are working at home, we have our family, but some people are working totally on their own. So there are no kitchen conversations and there's no exchange. There is no office culture as we know it in our home office. Do you have a work hack which is exactly for that, like for cooperation and that kind of community feeling?
Yeah, exactly. I said at the beginning that structure is the biggest problem, and the second biggest problem is really the missing of the social the socializing in the offices. So it's that's again a very easy work hack. It's the digital coffee break. So if we are working with a lot of teams and we offer that to them right now, super idea, thank you. The digital coffee break is very popular right now because the people are really missing their colleagues, and you can do it in different ways. Whether you can arrange one-on-one talks, like one like on Mondays, the one person meets the other person, and on Tuesday the next person meets the next person. Or sometimes teams also do it for all of them, like every Saturday, every Thursday, 4 o'clock they meet for a digital coffee break. And what I find even cooler, I just heard that from one team, and I'm really happy that they shared that, is that one of them every week they have one colleague who sends a recipe to everybody and a shopping list, and then everybody has to make that for lunch for the next day, and then they have this lunch together, and all of them have the same lunch, and then they can
Okay.
talk about, how did that work with you, and so on. So they have a good topic for all of them, and I find that a really cool idea. And by the way, you can even make your cooking skills a little bit better.
Yeah, that's a nice side effect of it. Great. Well, actually, at getAbstract also we have that kitchen conversations. We have 3 initiatives circling around that. There
Oh,
is the
wow.
mystery coffee. So for the mystery coffee, you're like joining in on the platform, and then there's a like you will be talking to a person and you don't know before which person that is. So you meet
Ah,
on a certain
okay.
time and it might be this colleague or that colleague. And this is really interesting because you also talk to people from different departments, people you usually maybe don't spend your break time with, or this is a really nice thing. And then also we have like it's called like a marketing tandem. So for 1 month, we have a certain partner and we meet with the partner on every Monday on a certain time and just exchange what we are working on. And this really brings people together, and it's a very good way not to lose the connection to your colleagues.
Ah, yeah, cool. And I've heard that one team told me that there's an app. It's called Team Shake, and this app brings together also two people in one team who has to have coffee together. So because you need some sort of advisory, or who does that. Normally, everybody gets gets a coffee with the one they already know and like, and but the cool thing is to bring together people who don't know each other that well, right? So that is, yeah, Team Shake makes that happen.
Yeah.
Ah, you're like very good.
So there is another question from Facebook from Dietmar. He says, at the moment, one is flooded with good ideas for the new normal. That's true. What do you think personally? How much will the new normal differ from the old normal, and how can we influence that future?
Whew. I'm a very bad prophet.
Prophet? Mm.
Prophet. I have no idea. I have no idea. I think, the only thing that I can say is that every team that I've spoken to, and which is very surprising, in every team there were people who are telling me, you know what? I was no fan of home office, not at all. But now that I have to do that, it's not that bad. It's really cool. And I have heard like one person out of 200 who wants to go 100% back to normal and to the 100% office time. But I think that it's happening right now that we will have more home office, and what we also will have, and I think that's a really good thing, is that we have remote work and remote workshops. I think we will less travel, and we will have more home office and digital collaboration. That's for that's for sure.
Yeah, as I
But the
said in the beginning,
rest,
it's really the time to try out new things, right? Now is the time to try things out. And the remote work hacks, I'm pretty sure that they will make it much easier for people to work at home, and maybe they overcome prejudices that they had about remote work before.
yeah, and because Dietmar was saying already that there are hundreds and thousands of tips out there right now, but they are somewhere. And so what we did in the last like 4 or 5 weeks, we collected the good tips on a website which is called digital-workhacks.de. Digital-workhacks.de. It's the URL, and we collected like 70 or 80 work hacks already. but we want to have all the ideas out there, because I think this is a really good thing to have this treasure and to collect all the experiments that people do right now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, speaking of collecting a treasure, there's one more workbook which I find really cool, and I want to make sure that our audience gets to hear it. It's for online meetings, and it's called the Video Buddy. Can you explain what the Video Buddy is?
Yeah, that's what we created. I have 1 minute left. Thank you. That's pretty easy. You call somebody on video, and then you're telling each other what you have to do for about an hour or whatever time you say, and then you work, but you just leave the video on. And I tried that out, and I find it really cool, because I am so much more focused and so much more productive. I finished more than I expected, and so I can recommend that really from my whole heart.
Okay, so it's actually against procrastination. So the things that you
yeah,
don't
and it's
like to
also
do, when you commit to doing them, you will probably do them if somebody's watching.
And it's also for the connection feeling. So that, if, normally you see each other, and you also you probably you share an office together, but in these days you don't talk to people so much. You just leave the video on, and it's very interesting, because the feeling is totally different if you work and you know that the other person can see you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's a
it's
bit
the
awkward.
accountability. Mm.
Yeah. Nobody
Awkward
steals
in the
bicycle.
sense
Have you
that you
heard
feel.
that? Yeah.
Please repeat. Say it again.
I've heard that that it's unlikely that somebody steals bicycles if you paint an eye above the bicycle. Isn't
Okay,
isn't that interesting? Yeah. So
that's really
it's a
interesting.
bit different. The idea is a bit different, but it's still it's interesting that only because of you're connected by video, it makes something, or it changes something. Try it out.
Mm-hmm. And in the end, you can celebrate your results together. So after 1 hour, you can tell each other what you have achieved,
Exactly.
and that might then lead
Yes.
you into the next kitchen conversation. Okay, I would say bravo.
Bravo! Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia, for those really hands-on tips. As mentioned in the very beginning, the best work hack is really useless if you don't use it. So, Lydia, you're actually recommending the summary of The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, which is about why we do what we do and how we can change. So check out the getAbstract summary in our library. And if you want to know more about the topic and related topics, you can also check out, for example, the Habit channel or the Battle of Business channel. Thanks to our audience for watching. I would like to invite you back tomorrow. Nancy Lee Stephen, she is professor of medical history at Columbia. She will be talking about eradication. So take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the day, and we hope to see you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.